apparently people seem to think it wasn't at 8 or some earlier time or something. I don't know. This guy's complaining about it. We'll see. Whatever.
Oh, I just realized I can't see the text window.
I can see it.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. Hold on here. Okay, now I can see it. Cool. Good enough.
Hi.
Yes, you can see our stupid faces.
Yep. So I'm Nedison. Person on my right over there is RoboSnail. And let's see. Have you guys asked any questions yet? I think there's one. Please let's see. I don't have time for this. To purchase upgrades for pastures. Okay, so you guys are having trouble with breeding. Is that the general complaint?
I don't think they're having trouble breeding. I think he's suggesting a way to make it more efficient.
Like pasture upgrades. So you could upgrade an individual pasture. Yeah, we might want to do that. Something where if you work a pasture, it gets better. It can support more passive mobs or something.
Oh, it looks like that guy's gone, so I don't think he's going to be responding to you. Anyway, so Nedison, do you want to go over some of the changes that you've been working on?
Sure. Actually, I mean, you should show them because you're the stream master. So you should go ahead and start a civ and show them the survey results and things like that. Oh, well, your face is in the way of the text. That might be a problem. Let's see here.
I can move my face. There we go. I can move myself, like, up here. Is that better? How about that?
Yeah, that's better. Oh, hi, Aaron. Glad you could make it.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start a town. See if this amazing dev can even remember the commands to his own game.
Alright, wait, hold on. So you should check out that survey results. So in the next version, where you build your town is going to be a lot more important because the biomes are going to determine your town space statistics. So before you build a town, it tells you a survey of all the biomes around you and what they give you. So all of these are just silly numbers right now. They're not balanced yet, but you'll see that he's got 85 Tegia biomes around him, and that equals quite a bit of hammers, but no extra bonuses for growth.
Right, and the reason the survey isn't very interesting is because I'm surrounded by, well, Tegia. So if I go over here and I try to start a civ, it'll do an initial survey, and you can also do individual surveys if you want to just test the land around you and the culture chunks that you're actually going to receive. You can just do individual surveys wherever you want. What's the command for that, Ryan? It's just
town survey.
Town survey. Okay.
And so Japanese, we're not sure yet. It kind of depends on when the next biome update is. If the 1.7 update's like 2 months away, and we might be ready beforehand, it might be better to have a little mini phase where we're testing bugs and getting all this sorted out. But if it just so happens that we finish this update about the same time that Mojang finishes theirs, then yes. But there's no way for us to know how far away Mojang is.
Okay, so here's a slightly more interesting survey result. Um, here we have swampland, river, and let's see if I can get Tajia in there as well.
So another thing is we
Closer.
started
go.
on this biome stuff before Mojang announced all these other biomes, but basically we're probably going to end up having to divide biomes into broader categories. So the fact that there's more of them just means that we have to shuffle more of them into categories to make it so that it makes sense.
Okay, so basically this town survey result right here shows what my base rates are going to be for this civ that I'm starting. So it has, I'm currently getting 51 chunks of swampland culture, 10 chunks of Tajia culture, 24 chunks of river culture, and you can see the effects they have on my stats in the totals section. So here I'm going to get happiness 2.4, hammers of 35.5, and I'm going to get a growth of 0.12 and a beaker rate. So you can kind of tell just from looking at this, obviously swampland is, rivers is affecting the coins quite a bit, and the swampland is, what does swampland affect anyway? It's like,
I'm
it
not sure.
seems,
I think it gives you a little bit of beakers.
that's what the 0.5 is from. So it looks
Yeah.
like swamps actually really suck currently. So
Yeah.
please ignore the actual numbers here because it's not balanced, not even close. We haven't even got close to balancing this stuff, so for the most part ignore the numbers. But basically this is just a general idea of how this will work. You'll be able to survey the land before you build a civ. Once you've built the civ, that will lock in your survey results as your actual base civ stats. At least that'll be your capitals base stats for production, beaker rates, and I think coins are actually going to be removed because static coins doesn't make any sense. We just have to offset them with upkeep anyway, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyway, so did you want me to make the civ now?
Yeah, go ahead. We were thinking about removing static coins from the biomes, but coins will still be around. We're not removing coins. He's referring to having biomes generate coins, which could be worked in a little bit, but it has to make sense.
So laggy. Build faster.
We're also working on some other stuff, like a lot to do with the custom items. So do you want to show them? I guess we can go over that later in the stream.
So let's go ahead and take a couple questions about the new culture implementation. And does anyone have questions about how the survey works or the culture or how it affects your base rates? Is there any confusion on that?
Do a town info to show them. I think there was some people they had questions about some of the other stuff. If you want to look at those, let's see.
Yeah, mushroom biomes will give special effects. What I mean by special is they're going to give bonuses just like all the other the biomes, but we're not going to make them especially powerful or anything, as there's only so many mushroom biomes, and it wouldn't make a lot of sense once the first civ or whatever plops down on it. They're all basically all used up, so it'd be kind of a huge balancing issue if we were to make the few mushroom biomes that are like completely OP or something. So they'll just be kind of balanced base stats. They're not going to be anything special though.
So what is desirable to be next to though are rivers and beaches. These are river and beach biomes are unique in that they give you happiness. Um, so they're supposed to be kind of rare, but building your town next to a beach or a river is always going to be a good idea.
They're gasping at my 15 million hammers. I actually set that manually. This fancy debug command right there. So yeah, that's actually not being affected by any of the surrounding tiles. So obviously, as your culture grows, your stats will grow because you're actually getting more of these tiles. So
Right. So
there's actually more of a reason now to want culture other than just basically it being bragging rights. I have a level 6 culture, yeah, go me. You know, it's not going to... it's an actual factor that's going to play into your strategy of where you build, and you're going to want to increase it as much as possible.
and it's important to note that the way culture generates has changed a little bit as well. Currently, culture generates from each and every claimed town chunk. So if you want to just grab a little bit more culture, you can just claim a little bit more land. In the next update, that's not going to be the case. The culture is only going to generate from your capital. So just claiming more land isn't going to help you. You're actually going to have to work for culture points.
Right. There's also some questions on here about the happiness mechanic.
Yeah, we can go over that a little bit.
Go ahead, Ryan.
So let's see. Go ahead and do a town info space happiness. I'm going to quickly answer. Yeah, we're going to try to balance the biomes so that snow is going to be decent. They're going to be good for different things. We don't want to really make biomes, worse than any other biome. And yeah, so in general, you're going to kind of want a mix of biomes, but we'll see. It actually does come down to the numbers. All right, so what you're looking at now for happiness is the way happiness works is we calculate happiness sources and unhappiness sources. Yeah, it's true. Half-Life 3 confirmed. And and so so we calculate the number of happiness sources and unhappiness sources, and then we take a percentage of how many happiness unhappiness things that you have, and if the percentage of unhappiness is too great, then you start to get penalized, and if it's over 100%, you'll actually get extra bonuses. So I think there's a debug command that you can actually just add happiness. Let's see. If I can find it.
So basically, if you look at the... I thought it actually showed the state that I was in. When you did this.
If you do
town info.
That's under town info.
So
static.
if you see here, I have 200% happiness in my Civ right now because I don't have any Civ members. But as I add residents to my Civ, I'm going to take happiness hits. You get one unhappiness, one crowded unhappiness for every resident that you have, which is basically to keep really, really large Zerg civs from being basically too powerful. It's supposed to at least kind of balance it out. You can still have a really large Zerg civ, but if you get too unhappy, then your civ is actually going to produce way less income for everything. Cottages, trade, everything. Hammer rate's going to tank. So you really want to be at least 100% happiness. 200% happiness is going to give you a huge bonus, but that's going to be really hard to achieve in any normal Civ setup. And again, these numbers are not balanced. They are just example numbers.
Yep.
What are the different states? I believe it is...
I can look it up, but go ahead and start adding unhappiness using that admin command that I typed to you there, Robo. And you can start showing them what happens when the happiness goes down. You can actually see that 15 million hammer rate take a dive. Let me get the happiness states.
So after adding 5 unhappiness, so that's the equivalent of adding 5 residents, you can see that the state is now happy instead of ecstatic. and you can also see that the happiness is at 75%. So obviously, as I continue to do this, my happiness
So
rating...
he actually just lost 5 million hammers from that. If you noticed. So the happiness rates are ecstatic, elated, happy, content, unhappy, unrest, and then revolt. And they each have various amounts, which of course are, thresholds on which they start to activate. But it's all of those numbers are up in the air for balancing. So I mean, right now they're kind of not important. But so yeah, okay, now he's unhappy.
46% happiness rating. Now I'm at revolt, which is 33%.
So happiness doesn't really counter the score of a civ. It only counters the size. So the idea is if you've got more people in your civilization, it's going to be harder to get your civilization to be happy. And this includes towns too. Having more towns is going to decrease your happiness. Distance upkeep is going to replace with distance happiness instead. And having captured towns is also going to increase your unhappiness. So it's going to be a lot harder to be one of those big mega civs like you have on Loki right now. You're just going to get chewed up by happiness.
Right. So obviously being in revolt is really crappy. Everything you do is going to be harder. Your science is going to be more difficult to research. It's going to take a lot longer to build structures. We might even go as far as penalizing your actual defense points on structures. So how much HP they have, how much health your control blocks have.
Right. So Aaron, you just said like 5 players is 1/3 your hammers. That's too much. Well, keep in mind that 5 unhappiness can always be countered with happiness sources. So if you go out and get trade goods, or if you build next to a river, you claim more river biome tiles, or you build structures, you can start generating happiness to offset the unhappiness. So it's like this is just like he's got unhappiness and he's got no happiness sources to counteract it.
Right. Obviously, if you were to just start adding a whole bunch of residents without actually using any of the happiness content that actually boosts your happiness, then yes, you're going to go into revolt very, very quickly. And that is the way it's balanced. So the more money and investment you put into happiness,
Right.
the more residents you're going to be able to maintain without going into unsatisfactory happiness level.
So Grifter, we actually do have a plan for residents to be able to some sort of generate happiness. Basically, there'll be random events that'll make it more difficult to upkeep proxy civs or civs that are AFK, and so if you don't complete the random event, you'll suffer a huge happiness penalty. So you will be able to affect the civ's total happiness. So.
Donator titles. So basically you mean like ranks, like donor ranks, essentially. What would they be? Just name color changes, or would they give you access to special commands?
Are you talking about integrating with Shotbow's premium system? Or are you talking about something separate? Yeah, when we have the template system up and working, that might be something we can do. Okay, so Shotbow's system, yeah. Shotbow's system we'll have to do a little extra work with and talk with the Shotbow guys. We have to get their, we have to integrate with their special stuff, because there's a little bit of a separation between our stuff and their stuff at the moment. So getting access to who is and who isn't premium is not as straightforward as it might seem. But yeah, there's lots of other stuff that we need to work on, sort of, before we do that.
Currently, what we have planned for donor content is the custom city templates. So you'll be able to select. You'll basically be able to make a donation, and then you'll be able to select a custom template, which will be a perk in game that you'll be able to use. It's purely aesthetic, and I think we are also going to offer some services that you can donate for, which are basically going to be like things that require us to do extra work. Like right now, if we wanted to actually rename somebody's Civ, it would be actually a really big deal. We have to go into the SQL database and we have to change everything. So in order for us to kind of do those special requests, we wouldn't want to do that for free, basically, because then we'd be doing it all the time. So if we actually required a small donation for something like a civilization name change, then it would be a manageable level of requests for it. So there'll also be a couple of services that you'll have access to aside from templates. And maybe further down the line we'll have ranks as well that will change your global name colors and stuff. But all that is sky pie. It's not currently planned.
Blue spies. Yeah. All right. So another thing I wanted to show you guys is I've done a bit of refactoring for how all of the different attributes work, so that it's a little bit easier for me and you guys to see where the attributes are being generated and what affects them. So do a town info hammers, Robo.
I don't know, Ryan. $10 to touch your beard.
Ugh, my beard?
Now I'm all jealous. I want you to want to touch my beard.
So do a town info hammers. So you can see now that it's a little bit different. We can look at the sources of the hammers and then also the rates that apply to them. And if you look closely here, you'll see that happiness is taking 90% of our hammers at the moment. And this same sort of information is given for all of the different attributes. So if you want to see things like beakers, town info beakers. And you can see where exactly your beakers are coming from and where they're going, if they're getting taken away. So. Let's see. Yes, howling.
Alright, so I think we are going to go over some of the new material stuff. Nedison, you're going to have to walk me through this.
Alright. So, sorry, howling. Yeah, I think ranks would be really cool. And yeah, we are working on roads. We're going to get... The nether is going to be completely disabled in the next version, and so roads are going to be as well disabled. Right. So also subvert government. No one civ got any subvert government removed. If anybody got subvert government removed, it was Valena from Ironborn, because he was the one that convinced me that it needed to go. So. No, howling. The roads are going to be kind of special. They're going to be... our current plan for the roads is that they're going to be a little bit like walls, except that you can build them anywhere in your culture and outside of your culture. Probably not in enemy culture, but you can draw them like walls, and they're going to also operate a little bit like camps, where the walls are protected. They'll protect a little bit above them, so that so that you can always, they'll be clear so that you can walk through them. But they'll also work a little bit like camps. Like, so when they're built, there'll be a 2-hour window in which they can be rated. And as they're getting rated, if you're the owner of that road, there'll be a message that pops up in your town and says your road is being rated, and then you can go out there and try to fight them. Because we don't want people to be able to grief with roads, right? We don't want people to walk up to another person's civ and then build a bunch of roads all over them so they can't build. Well, they have to be somewhat destroyable because, like I said, otherwise people are going to just build roads in enemy territory just to mess with them. So what we want to do is we want to make it easy to defend roads that are close to you and hard to defend roads that are far away. So roads are going to have quite a bit of health. They'll have like a regen, so you're not going to be able to just like have one person destroy a road. It's going to take a group of people to destroy a road, and you'll have to yeah, you can just allow it in enemy territory as well. That might be enough. But we'll see. I mean, there'll be something to do with roads that makes it so that you can't grief with them. So you're talking about the material system. That's what you wanted to talk about next.
Yeah, I think we can start covering that.
Okay. So I guess the first thing to show off is I've already shown it off on the subreddit, but maybe people haven't seen it yet, is the crafting recipe book. It's debug show craft inv.
So we have our kind of custom inventory that's been turned into a custom recipe book. So tell us how this works, Ryan.
Right. So this is going to be, it's not quite finished yet, but basically there's actually not going to be a command. We're going to try to actually integrate it into a book that is on your person that you can just right-click, and then it opens up a menu that you can click through. Because there actually might need to be multiple pages, because we're actually adding a lot of materials, so there might be more than a chest's worth of materials to go through, and we actually might want to sort them so that certain materials are in certain books or something like that. But basically, you'll right-click on a book, and it'll open up an inventory like this. And this inventory shows you exactly how to craft all of the items in the game. So you'll see, like, if you hover over the steel sword, which is on the very end there, on the very left. Hover over steel sword. Alright, so you'll see that there's this matrix on the bottom where there's X's and then there's green letters. So that shows you how to craft it. So basically a steel sword is just like a normal sword, but with steels instead of iron. So that's not too surprising there. So some of the other ones, like refined leather and crafted leather, they'll say that they're shapeless, and they'll tell you what they need in order to build them. So to get to refined leather, you'll 4 leather or 4 crafted leather, and then 4 leather to get to the crafted leather. Now all these materials you see are basically going to get replaced, because Robust now has a big document full of
I was
materials.
Going to bring that up right now. Give you guys a sneak peek at the top secret files. I'm gonna have to kill all of you after this.
Yeah, actually, Giga, the chainmail is going to be available with this system. So you'll be able to craft something, and it'll have a name that's not chain, but you'll be able to use it.
Okay, so basically what we have here is the entire material list. I don't know if you guys can see this. Can you guys see this okay?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Okay, I think they can see it now.
Oh, you don't want people crafting your chain? Well, sorry.
So basically, the way this is going to work is the materials here on the side our base materials on the left side over here. So all of these base materials, they're non-lore, except for tungsten ore and chromium ore. The base materials can be found in CivCraft the same way you'd find them in vanilla Minecraft. But what we've done is we've created tiers of materials. So basically, in order to create the next level of leather, you have to have 9 base leather. So if we come over here and we look at carved leather, I actually left out tier 1.5, which is basically just the base mat times 9, which turns into crafted leather. And from there, it's carved leather, which requires 1 crafted leather and 1 crafted string. 1 crafted string, of course, would be 9 string. So once you have this carved leather material, you actually have 9 leather and 9 string that's all combined into one item. So as you can see, it gets exponentially more expensive to craft some of the higher tier materials. Leather straps, now you're requiring 3 carved leather, which is 3 times 3 crafted leather, which is times 9. So just to build a leather strap, you can imagine how many stacks of leather you're actually going to need. And the same goes for all of the items. The new tiers of gear, diamond is being removed, and the new tiers of gear are below. So there's going to be a wood set, stone set, and iron set are all going to be vanilla. It's exactly how you expect them to be. There's absolutely no changes there. The steel set is the first addition that we've made in CivCraft. It's going to be slightly stronger than iron. It's going to be slightly more defense. The steel armor is going to be slightly more defense than the iron set. And after steel comes carbide steel, which is hardened steel essentially. And same thing applies. It's going to be slightly stronger than the steel. And then finally you're going to have the tungsten set, which wraps up that is the highest tier set of armor and sword that you can get for heavy armor. There's also additions in light armor. We're going from leather armor vanilla to reinforced leather to composite leather. And with both leather sets, I'm adding 1 new type of bow. So there's now a long bow and a composite bow on top of the vanilla bow.
Yeah, so to answer some of you guys' questions, I already did it in chat, but might as well do it on the stream as well. Yeah, the gas tiers are going to be some way to get them without the nether. People asked about lapis and whether or not lapis is going to still be in the game, and we're actually converting lapis into the tungsten ore. So when you break a lapis block, it's going to bust out and turn into tungsten ore rather than lapis. Lapis will be still available at the stores, like in the market, so you can still use it for dyes and to make pretty lapis blocks. But it's not something that you're going to be mining and feel like, oh, what do I want to do with it?
Right. It's actually going to be a lot more valuable. You're going to feel much better mining lapis. You're going to actually feel like it's worth the inventory space now.
Yeah.
As well as with chromium ore, except chromium ore is actually only going to be obtainable through your trommel. It's going to be a rare material that you can siphon out of your cobblestone. And that's going to be the only way to obtain it. So yeah, we got lots of interesting things planned. We're going to kind of play off of our previous mechanics while adding new ones. And hopefully our playtest will let us know if it's fun or not, and if things need to be adjusted, we can. All of these numbers are subject to change. Okay, so I think wasn't there a couple more things, Ryan, that...
So some people had some questions. Hold on.
I'm looking at the questions now.
Yeah, there was. There's definitely going to be a crafting page on the wiki that goes over all of the different recipes. But just in case the wiki ever gets outdated, that's sort of the in-game recipe thing that I was working on. I wanted to make sure that that was in-game and available to you, so that it didn't really matter what the wiki said, that you could always have this available to you. And this is derived from the game data, so anything inside the item recipes is always up to date. I figured people know Minecraft recipes by heart, but all of these new custom recipes are going to get people really confused, and without a guide, there's definitely no way that people will be able to figure it out.
Which is why we're going to have the in-game recipe book, and hopefully using that will be fairly intuitive. We have a question here, basically from GigaHost. He's asking whether or not we're going to require techs for these different tiers of materials, and the answer to that is absolutely yes. There is absolutely no reason not to. It adds more to the game. It requires you to move forward with your research to take advantage of the higher gear. So yes, the answer to that is yes. You will be able to, as a more advanced civ, craft better gear and sell it to lower gear and sell it to civs with less tech for $1, as you put it. So yes, there's going to be a very large economy. Most of these, now I realize when you're looking at some of this gear, it actually requires upwards of 1,200 leather for some of the top gear, and some of you guys, your jaw is dropping, and how am I going to slaughter 1,200 cows? That is a legitimate concern. Currently, you're boned. No, I'm kidding. Actually, we're gonna add all the materials are gonna be added to the global market. So if you have enough money, you will be able to buy the materials at an incredibly inflated price. So money is always going to be useful in Beta Phase 5, no matter how much of it you have. And the more money you have and the more you're willing to spend, the more inflated these items are going to get. So it's actually going to be an economy that self-inflates. The more you spend, the more expensive it gets.
Yep.
So the more rich the top towns get, they're not really going to have... Well, I guess what's going to happen is they are going to have an advantage in the sense that because they make more money, they will have an advantage over smaller civs. But at the same time, the smaller civs have more advantage to make money now because they can actually go out and gather those materials vanilla Minecraft-like, and then they can sell them for the inflated high prices that the larger civs have set them to. So,
yeah, you can really play the market with this now because there's going to be a ton of demand for all of the base materials, and if you've got if you notice that people have bought up leather or some other material and it's just way too expensive in the market, that's a good indication that maybe you want to build more pastures, maybe you want to try to get more cows around just for their leather, not for no other reason other than that you want to farm and sell their leather.
Right, and I figure some of you guys are thinking 1,200 leather, whatever, I can collect that. And my response, awesome. I'm going to make it harder. The top gear is going to be difficult to get, and I'm not even sure that I want to design it so that it's soloable. Like, maybe you need to have a group of people to get to the top gear. Maybe an entire set of tungsten requires 5 people's working for 1 week to get, and everybody else just uses basically carbide steel. Maybe we want to do that, maybe we don't. It's going to depend on kind of what feels right. It's going to basically come down to how smooth it feels when you actually play it.
So you should mention that as well. Another interesting thing is that the technology is not the only thing that matters. When you get a tungsten, like your first tungsten blade, it's going to be basically a normal tungsten blade. But if you have, but as a resident, you have the opportunity to continually craft and improve your iron or your sword, your iron or your steel blade, and make it better and better and better. So that the lowest level tungsten is not going to be better than the perfect steel or the perfect iron weapon that you made necessarily. So you're going to be able to as a resident, really invest in your gear. That's our goal anyway, so that it's not just like throwaway gear like it is now.
Yeah, the gear, and touching on that, basically, the gear system is mostly directed at resident content. If you're a resident in a town, you're going to benefit the most from the gear. Of course, towns want residents with good gear to defend them, but as a resident, you now have something to work towards. Your money's actually worth something, so doing jobs for civs or collecting materials actually benefits not just the civ, but it benefits you as a player.
So Guitar Man had a very good question. How are you going to stop large civs from just making a bunch of proxy civs?
So what we've done to actually shut that down, not necessarily shut it down, but every civ that you every town that a civ creates.
Well, this is actually multiple civs is what he's talking about.
You're talking about proxy civs or just making lots of small towns?
Proxy civs.
Okay, so we're talking about proxy civs. So what have you designed, Medicine, to keep that from happening?
Oh, right. So, so the problem with proxy civs is it's really tough. However, we're going to be changing the technology. I mean, the more they split their efforts into multiple players, they're going to have to research that much more technology in order to keep up. And technology is going to cost a lot more than it does now. That's really it's also going to be harder to manage your civ if you're not active and on. So I guess if you're really really large and you're just like splitting yourself up into multiple civs, then it's a little bit easier for you to deal with some of the inactive proxy civ stuff that we have working on.
But at that point, you're basically just multiple civs that are close allies, which other civs have that too. Solving the issue of proxy civs is always going to be difficult. There's no way for us to tell what's a proxy civ and what's not a proxy civ. The only thing that we can do is we can balance the game so that running more than one civ with the same amount of people gets harder and harder and harder the further up the ladder you move. So having a bunch of low-level civs managed by 5 people, maybe that's possible, but have fun with that once you reach ironworking, and everything gets exponentially more expensive, requires more management, and in the end, it's just going to require more people. So they have a choice. Either they increase the number of residents they have and the number of members, and they fill up all those proxy civs, and in which case, like I said earlier, it's basically just like a large alliance.
So GigaHost, about the mob drops, we probably will have some things that drop from mobs that'll be useful for the material system. However, we don't want to go overboard with this because I'm really worried about people just making large grinders. Normally I wouldn't mind something like a large grinder, but it just sucks the server performance away. And anything that we can do to try to reduce grinders is going to be helpful for the server. Yeah, mob grinder, thought so. But the good thing is, in some ways, where if you do have a mob grinder, and a particular type of material does get overinflated, you're going to need more than one type of material to get your way up the tech tree, right? So if some other type of material becomes the limiting factor, so be it. You're just going to have to deal with it. And that's something that we're going to have to look at later when we see the numbers and figure out, what's going on.
Yeah, you said that we might add items to monsters for the crafting system. I'm going to say we're probably not. Just because it encourages monster grinders, and Minecraft has just a terrible system for monsters. And it's kind of going the way of grinding on monsters, MMO style. And I think we kind of want to prevent that. I mean, we don't really care that much about you. We'll make you grind your lives away, but not in that sense. Like, we don't want you to do it through grinding on monsters. We'd rather you stare at a trommel for hours.
Trommel staring.
So yeah, we're probably not going to be adding too many custom items to monsters, if any at all. but you will see custom items for the craft system. Obviously, we already talked about a couple of them. In fact, every custom item that we have is a lore item, so, I mean, I showed you that list. Everything on there is essentially a lore except for the base materials.
And yeah, we are going to add more wonders. I don't know about the Great Wall. The Great Wall is one of those ones that are they're just really hard to do technically, because obviously when you build the Great Wall, people want this really awesome, massive wall built around their cities. And there's some people who have suggested ways to do that, but it's just kind of a lot of code work for I'm not sure enough gain. So there will be more wonders. We could show them the new Colossus actually, because we redid the design for the Colossus. I don't know if that's finished or not. Is that finished?
It is finished.
Um,
So,
I posted photos on Facebook.
oh, did you for the new Colossus? Yeah.
by the way, everyone, so we have a new community manager. My wife Kayla is now our new awesome CivCraft community manager. Here she is. Just turn the camera over here. There she is. She's been doing a pretty awesome job at updating our Facebook and our Twitter, because we completely neglect it, because we're terrible.
Yep.
So moving forward, she's going to be kind of documenting what we're doing a little better, so we don't necessarily have to take time out of our development. She'll be updating you with what we're working on, and hopefully you guys will feel a little bit more involved in the process.
Yeah, we do want you to know that we do take all of your suggestions seriously, and it's just like we're just overwhelmed with messages, and sometimes we just don't have the time to respond to everything.
Yeah, that's definitely... I'm always looking through the suggestions. I find tons of suggestions that I absolutely love, but there's usually something about them that makes them not really usable, and it's basically just the difference between something that we actually have control over and something we don't. So yeah, we're always keeping an eye on the suggestions, and we appreciate all of them. Nukes are awesome. Agreed. So I had a question here that I wanted to answer. Now I can't find it.
New kinds of buildings. Yes, I believe so. I believe an aqueduct is coming to help with growth. A lot of the buildings are going to change what they do. All of the buildings are going to get new abilities. For example, the blacksmith is going to increase your hammer rate a little bit, but it's also going to increase your hammer even more depending on what trade goods you have. And it'll also give you a happiness penalty. So you don't necessarily want to always build a blacksmith in every single one of your cities. You're going to have to think about, well, does this city really need a blacksmith? And same thing with all the tile improvements. They're all going to be affected by what biome they're built in and what biomes they have next to them, and they're going to have advantages and disadvantages. And somebody mentioned before whether or not the over enchanting is going to be done or redone, and yes, all the enchants are going to be redone. The combat enchantments especially. We're going to go away from the default Minecraft combat enchantments, and we're going to make our own, just so that we have more control and that we can show you what's going on. Like if you look at, for instance, an iron sword. Can you pull up an iron sword, Robo, on your Minecraft? Yeah, it probably will get rid of things like looting level 6, but the regular looting will be more valuable because okay, so no, not that iron sword. I mean our iron sword.
You mean
add
a steel sword? What do you mean?
no, just do you add items and then an iron sword.
Add items. What do you mean?
AD space items.
And then add the steel sword or
Iron sword. Iron sword.
Okay.
Iron sword. Iron sword. Right. equipped that iron sword. So you can see if he keeps his mouse over it that it gives you a little bit of max health, and it has a 0.5 attack damage. So when you enchant swords, those stats are going to increase. It's going to be a little bit more like easy to follow what's going on rather than just these named enchantments that you're used to in Minecraft. They will have a place in our in the next version, but it's not going to.
Poor precursor.
It appears a wild precursor has appeared.
Let me see if I can add
the call.
Yeah,
There we
right under
go.
the call.
I don't know how to use Skype. Add to group call. Here we go. Will he answer? Yes, he will. Do you have your camera, Fletcher?
Yeah, how do I add it?
I add it. You just turn it on.
So it shows pending for me for your camera. I don't know.
For some reason...
Anything new with the barracks? Funny you mention.
Okay, hold on.
We're thinking about, this isn't quite go yet, but we're thinking about making the unit items craftable by residents, so that when wartime comes around, residents have something to do to try to build up arms forces, and the blacksmith will kind of like bake the
Oh
items.
god, what have I done? The world is black.
Oh my gosh, what did you do?
Okay, let me just re-add this. Okay.
So the unit items might be craftable by players, and we're going to change the way that combat works inside of an enemy civ so that not having a unit is going to be really, really dangerous. So the warriors, they might get nerfed. But what's going to really change is it's going to be like the units will do different things based on whether or not you're inside friendly territory. So for example, let's just say you're a normal citizen. If you walk into an enemy territory and you don't have a unit, your damage is going to be reduced, say, by something like 50%. Right? So you're just going to have a major disadvantage if you don't have a unit. And if you're like an archer unit, for example, you might have city defense, which might make your attacks do more damage when you're inside friendly territory. So the idea behind this is we want players to use the units more and make the units, as they are in Civ, a lot more important to who wins. So you can't just have a massive Civ with lots of players that come in on the weekend and zerg you because they weren't around all week to preparing and making units for themselves. See, I think people have some questions here.
Do I have to get premium accounts?
Hold on, I'm gonna recreate the call real quick. Alright, so I have you. And... turn on video. Okay. We need to add...
So yeah,
Did
we are
Fletcher
doing the
just
spy
disconnect
I don't know.
from Skype? Okay. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I know. There's currently problems with spies, and they're going to be. In fact, it might even be ripped out early if we don't get to refactoring them. I would rather just have them removed, to be honest. But it's definitely on our to-do list. It's on the roadmap, in fact. Sorry. Try again. I sometimes don't see messages.
You're not forgiven, Ryan. You're a terrible human being.
I know. Everybody thinks I'm terrible.
Okay. I guess we lost Fletcher. He's got better things to do.
No, yeah, I don't know.
He's not in Skype anymore. He just kind of disappeared. Oh, unless he has two accounts. He probably does. That's probably what's going on here.
No, there's not going to be any refunds for that, sorry. Just because it's just way too much work and you can't tell who lost what, so the only fair thing to do is just say sorry. If that was my fault, I should have been a little bit more attentive when I did that update. Because I was trying to fix the attachables, things like fences and stuff, and not fences, but ladders and torches popping off of structures when they build. And I accidentally messed things up. So sorry about that. If I'd have known it was broken at the time, I would have just kind of I would have just restored the backup because the backup had just happened. But yeah, next time I'll have to be a little bit more careful. Well, no, some people actually lost units in their barracks chest, which is kind of a big deal. So, yes, I'll accept Fletcher's video.
What's going on?
Well, I'm trying to situate stuff. It's actually more work than it looks like. And I have no idea what just happened. I just lost all video. Okay.
It's our first time, guys. Give us a break.
Everything was working fine until you got here. Thanks for
I know.
nothing.
Looks like the video works differently when you have more than 2 people in.
Yeah, for some reason I lose all video as soon as Fletcher joins the call.
Yep, time to go premium. My payment
I'm not
failed.
sure why.
You suck.
But until then...
Yeah, it actually says here, Robo, the reason it doesn't work is because you need premium to have group calls. That's why. So Fletcher, leave.
Okay.
Bye. Or you can see our faces. I don't know. Whatever
Here,
you
how
guys
about
want.
this? How about we have Fletcher leave the call, and I will get into vent, and everyone can hear you through there.
Man, but I'm just now getting premium.
So, wait, hold on. So somebody's asking... I lost a spy. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Giga, by default, you're not gonna... We're actually disabling XP and the normal enchantment system, so by default, nobody's gonna be able to have Fortune or Silk Touch. Because things like Fortune, like, they're kind of cool in one sense, but they end up just inflating the economy, and Minecraft's economy is already really inflated. And a lot of what we're doing with the materials is all about just getting rid of the inflation.
Ryan, turn your cam back on.
Yeah, I'm working on it. There we go.
There we go. Okay, well that was definitely the issue there.
Yep.
Trying
Yeah,
to do things that are possible.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, the library enchantments are going to have to be reworked with the new material system. They're not going to be the same. Yeah, Giga, we're going to do something like chess shops. It's not... I don't know if it's chess shops for sure, but there's going to be a player-to-player trade. There has to be, at least at some level. Because just the market alone is kind of vague. So, Guitar Man, yes, you're going to be able to get a special custom enchantment that keeps your items from being lost when you die. It'll be something like, well, we're not entirely sure yet, but I'm leaning towards something like a system where if you die, you lose a bunch of durability rather than losing the item itself. And the reason we're doing this is because currently Minecraft PvP is very much whoever dies first loses, which makes it really, really risky and not fun. And if we're increasing the value of items it kind of makes it sense to not let you lose them instantly if you die once. So we're definitely looking at a system where you die, you take some sort of damage to your weapon, and then eventually, if your weapon reaches 0 durability, either it will break or maybe it just becomes unusable. But that's the that's
Real quick, Fletcher, can we hear you?
Can you hear?
Can you guys hear? Can you?
Yeah.
I can't. Oh, I can't hear him because my vent is muted. Hold on.
Hold on, I'll move it.
Okay.
They can kind of hear him, so I'm going to turn him up a little bit.
This is a pretty impressive album. Is it Howling? Is that your name? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Alright,
Custom.
try talking now, Precursor.
You go. Hello.
I can hear you.
Okay. So I'm actually going to go over some crafting now from vanilla materials into the new lore items. So I'm going to grab some leather. I'll grab a couple stacks of leather here.
You can go ahead and add me to the Skype call. I bought premium, so everyone will have pictures now.
Are you sure we don't all have to have premium?
Nope.
Oh, that's a really weird bug, Madison.
What are you doing? Oh, that's probably because you're an admin. I think the leather has some special meaning for World Guard.
Okay, so basically, in order to make a crafted leather, which is the next tier of leather, it requires 9 normal leather. Any configuration, well, there's only one configuration for 9 items. Am I doing something wrong here? Is there a reason this isn't working? Oh, it's
What are you
only
doing?
4, that's right. My bad, it's 4, apparently. This is actually going to be changed to require 9, but currently it only requires 4. So I'm going to make 16 crafted leather. You can see it's now crafted leather there on the bottom instead of normal leather. Is there another tier on top of that I can show them, Ryan, or is that as far as you got there?
It goes just crafted and then refined.
Okay,
you
so
can
then the next tier is going to be refined leather, which will represent basically 9 crafted leather, which would represent 9 times 9, so 81 normal leather. So a single refined leather would be a pretty impressive amount of leather to have. And there's like 3 tiers above this as well, planned. So it's going to be kind of costly to get to the higher level materials.
Yeah, so Guitar Man has been asking about repairing, and so yeah, the gear repairing will be available, even though you don't have any levels or XP. It'll probably be available at the blacksmith for some kind of a fee, probably based on the tier of your gear. So it's going to be kind of like World of Warcraft with its maintenance thing that you kind of have to do on your weapons and items. As much as I hate copying World of Warcraft, they do lots of things right. So there's going to be a cost to PvP, but it's not going to lose you your special item that you've made. Oh, the biome building. So we're planning on doing the biome buildings for the next phase as well. Everything is ready to go with the biome buildings, except our ability to charge you for them, which kind of sucks for us. But I'm working on it. I've got it at the store, mostly there. The only last bit is to hook up the things you buy in the store with the things that are in game. So it'll be, and we'll also be able to give away templates. We're thinking about giving away camp templates, just for people who have been on and helped in the earlier beta phases, just to let you guys play around with them. Some of those templates are really pretty cool, so I'm pretty excited to see those come in.
Fletcher, you're in the call now.
Yeah, I frickin' hate Microsoft branded webcams.
Yeah, it looks like you have issues, which not really surprised.
Ouch.
Howling, you can post an IP, I guess. Not sure if you know how to get people to connect to it. I don't mind.
My plan was actually to have Fletcher possibly show you some of the new template stuff that he's been working on, but
Follow him in CivCraft.
Yeah, I'm gonna reinstall my driver, see if that works.
We're doing everything we can to fix any type of lag. The trade repo lag is our next big target. And yeah, obviously wartime lag is anything we can do to reduce that.
Brand new HD.
See anybody else have? I don't know if they're adding seasons. Tornado Nate asked if, but if they do add seasons and there's some way that I can get to the information about what season it is, then yeah, we might have a system where growth is affected by seasons. Robo, can you close your window? The traffic outside is making lots of noise.
alright. I have Precursor's camera in now if he ever loads his camera up.
Yeah, I'm installing drivers, so give me a second.
Yeah, Miss Chaos is in the room there with Robo now.
Which can tell you guys everything you need to know.
One last question. At the moment, new PvP arena, I wonder. So Guitar Man, we've actually delayed the PvP Wonder in favor of most of this other stuff because we felt like it was more important. We wanted to get the next phase up and running, and to just add more Resident content in general, because the PvP arena, while it sounds really fun, it does feel a little bit kind of like a band-aid to fix the real problem, which
Okay, I'm
is
gonna restart.
that
so
there
give me a second.
isn't enough Resident content, enough things for residents to play. So we really wanted to address that issue at its core, rather than just add a wonder to fix the issue. Now, that's not saying the wonder's not going to happen, but it is going to be delayed, at least until maybe the middle of next phase or something.
So in order for this to work, the camera stuff, I'm actually just going to close all these cameras. Because with Fletcher joining and leaving, it's just
Yeah.
messing everything up, so.
Alright, you should turn on the, you should show the new Colossus structure, if that's ready. I don't know. Been on the template server in a while. Huh.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I'll bring that up.
right, well, thanks for coming on, even though it's like, I guess, really late where you're at. Nice to hear feedback from anybody.
Okay, so here we have the Colossus structure. This is going to be the new Colossus Wonder. And got the Great Library over there, the Great Lighthouse, which is under construction still. And here is the Colosseum that we hope to have. If we have time, we might get around to it for Beta Phase 5, but I don't think Netison currently has it planned right now.
Yeah, because there's just tons of things you can do with the Colossus. Like, you can do 1v1s, you can do 2v2s or 3v3s or 4v4s, and it's just like, it seems like quite a lot of work just to get it basically functioning. And this other resident content is a bit more important at the moment. But other than that, it's all coming along. Let's see. Is there anything else anybody wanted to see? Tour of the template server. We could do that. You can check out some of the other.
Don't give away my secrets. And imagine that reinstalling crap works.
Looks like all of our faces are not going to be here. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
but for
devs,
some reason this stupid camera won't focus, but that's okay. Nobody cares about my face.
For some reason,
It's a
Fletcher doesn't have
setting
a
that I
beard.
found
It's a
earlier.
mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something. It's an autofocus function inside your webcam that you just gotta change in the software. So complicated.
So Grifter, so the way that the trade goods work right now is it's actually a little bit weird, but it'll make sense once I explain it. And that is, the biomes are just much too random and scattered everywhere in order to actually make regional differences for trade goods. So when we first started with trade goods, we did have them biome restricted, but we found that it was really hard to balance because certain trade goods appeared more often than others in different in different corners of the world, just based off of how often the biomes generated them.
I think it's a
So what we're doing now is the trade goods are actually separated in hemispheres. So the upper left hemisphere of the map gets a different type of trade good than the lower right hemisphere of the map. And their rarity determines, sometimes they're just on the top hemisphere, sometimes they're in the middle or just the bottom. And their rarity determines like how big of a spread that they have over the entire map of the world. And so for the next, that's currently in this phase. You may notice that some of the trade goods just happen to be a lot more rare, like gems, for instance, on Arendelle. And the reason that is because gems only spawn in the southeast corner of the map, and that map just happens to be all water, and gems won't spawn there. So for the next phase, the trade goods are going to do different things. Particularly, they're going to interact more with structures. You're going to see more structures utilizing trade goods. Like I mentioned before, the blacksmith will increase your hammer rate if you've got copper or silver goods socketed, things like that. So we're going to try to integrate with as many different mechanics as we can with the trade goods.
I'm going to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about our mod situation and staff. Not a very popular topic, definitely one that I have trouble talking about, but basically we've recognized that our current moderator strategy is not working, and basically what we're seeing is lots of reports of abuse, no way of really proving if the reports are legitimate or not. We have some evidence against previous admins that we've removed of abuse, and it definitely does happen. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. The issue is it's actually almost impossible to keep moderators and admins from making friends and being even subconsciously biased. So what we are going to do, starting in beta phase 5, is we are going to have a self-moderated community. I've done some thinking about this, and I think because Nedison and I, we want to spend 99.9% of our time working on CivCraft so we can get you guys the features that you want to see as fast as possible. If we're taking time out of our schedules to moderate the servers, then we're taking time out of developing features for you. I'm pretty sure that I speak for everyone when I say that that's not what you want. The moderating team, in order to be done properly, it requires, I think, a lot bigger staff. A lot of the previous staff members, some of their mistakes could easily be wrote off as the team is just too small. There isn't enough checks and balances. There's too many people in charge of too many things, and what it is really is it's just understaffed. I don't have enough people to fill enough positions so that everyone's watching everybody. So what we're going to do is a kind of self-moderated community. The report system is still going to be in place. You'll be able to report anyone for language or breaking rules or exploits or whatever. But you will not see moderators in-game and admins flying around being kind of like some big surveyor dude. That's going away. There's not going to be admins in-game anymore that are going to be actively banning people and looking for people that are breaking the rules. Basically, we're going to be relying on you guys to report players. You're going to be reporting things that you feel are important to report. We're going to see how this works.
I
mean-
stalking you guys, though.
What?
She likes stalking me.
I like stalking CivCraft players.
Yeah, see, there's your new community manager. She likes just watching all of you guys really creepily. But essentially what it's going to come down to is either this new system is going to suck really, really bad, but at least it's going to suck equally for everybody and not just the people that are brown-nosing the admins. Or rather, the people that don't brown-nose the admins. So I think overall this is going to be a better system for the community. You're not going to feel like players that have direct access to admins because of friendships or whatever or Skype calls are getting a bigger advantage over you or more attention to their problems than to yours. So at least if it does suck, it's going to suck for everyone equally, and hopefully that is fair and balanced. So that is the plan for the moderators in Beta Phase 5. They just won't exist anymore.
Sounds like communism.
And this is totally experimental, so if it ends up sucking, then we will probably rehire staff and go from there. Anyway, continue on, Medicine.
Alright, well, somebody asked about a spawn tutorial. So show them the tutorial inventory that we're going to be working on. It's, shoot, you're back in the dev server? Alright, hold on. It's this command.
Ooh, I found it.
No, Guitar Man, I mean, we'll be in game every now and then, and, you know, we will walk around and we will come in and investigate issues as we get support tickets, of course. And, you know, if we see people breaking the rules, you know, we're gonna be just as harsh on them as we ever were. The issue is there's a couple of issues, but one of the big sub issues is that when people see the moderator tag, I've heard complaints from multiple players that have actually played around for a long time that the moderator tag scares them, and they think that the mods have more power than they actually do, and it's influencing the politics of the game, and it really shouldn't. So we're going to try this as an experiment instead. Well, nerf mod powers. The problem is people already they already think mods have more powers than they do. I mean, I've heard crazy rumors fly around that mods can spawn items or do all sorts of weird stuff. But so I think for at least the time being, just having nothing is going. No, secret mods won't work either. I thought about that too, because if people find out that they're secret mods, then it becomes even worse. Becomes even more of a metagame. Like maybe they've got more secret powers that I don't know about. Right? I think it's just fair if like nobody has any powers. If you get spied on or something terrible happens to your civ, it happened because it happened. It didn't happen because some mod is out to get you.
Also, I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but the Shoppo guys, they're not in their servers moderating them in person. They don't even really delegate it to other people. They have their support staff, and they have a reporting system. And yeah, they're in the lobby, but they're not running around flying in Mine Z, unvanished, talking to players. And I think overall, it's just going to be, hopefully, you're going to see you're going to get help just as quick as you would if there wasn't mods or admins. But you're not going to see them affecting the game as much. Previously, they were literally part of the metagame, and that's not okay. So hopefully the new...
Fletcher's gonna be banned.
Not again.
So hopefully the new system will be nice and balanced. If everyone's reporting to the support ticket system, we have about 3 people checking the support tickets throughout the day, and they will be assisting you with the issues, assuming that you provide them with enough information to actually help you. So yeah. Another person on here asked, why don't you just get rid of the good mods and or rather get rid of the bad mods and the admins? And the truth is that all of the admins and mods have their strengths and weaknesses. I wouldn't say that any of them were really bad. I would say that all of them have been both awesome and not so great at times, and which is basically why we're trying this new strategy, and it's to keep the mods and admins from affecting the game, the CivCraft experience of the players, and hopefully that's what this is going to accomplish. All right, we're going to show them the
Tutorial
now.
Alright, so this is a tutorial that pops up when you first log in, and it's also going to be available to you from that book that we were talking about earlier, so you can access it again. And this is by far not the final version of the tutorial, but the idea is it's supposed to give players who just join kind of like the elevator pitch of what CivCraft is, so that they don't have to spam it in chat as much, and so that they don't just log in, think it's a faction server, and just leave. So, because that has happened. I mean, I've gone and I've watched YouTube videos of like 9-year-old kids getting on CivCraft, and they're trying to figure out how to play or what's going on. And I feel so bad for them, because I feel responsible for them not understanding what's happening, because they just log in and they have no idea how big and deep the game is, and they're just like, well, I think the game is about this, and they're completely wrong, right? So, right.
So basically what we have here is a...
Right, people, I know there's a wiki for the reason, and this tutorial does point them to the wiki, but the wiki is full of lots and lots of information. The whole point of this is to pop up something in their face in-game that'll show them, like, this is what this game mode's about. This is what's important to know about it, and whether or not... And then players can judge for themselves whether or not this game is something that they'd want to play. So the idea is that hopefully if they just read enough about it, that they'll figure out that it is something they want to play, and they will be a little bit less annoying when they first join. So
So
civs
nice.
costing 100k. No, they actually will not cost coins at all. Instead, you're going to have to use the material system that we just showed you to actually craft an item, a special item that'll let you found a civ. So it's gonna be around we're gonna try to balance it so that it's around 50k worth of materials, or what we think 50k worth of materials would be, but it's not going to cost coins at all. And this is going to be one of the things that hopefully makes having proxy civs a little bit harder to get, so that you can't just spam things.
Right. So what basically what the problem was before is you had civs with unlimited money. Basically, they're sitting on 10 million or more, and if they wanted to start a proxy civ, it was as easy as just investing 100k into another civ, and then now they have civ spamming. With the new material system, they're going to have to actually go out and collect the materials. There's not going to be any way to just instantly start a new civ just because you have money. You're going to have to actually go out and do the work to collect the materials to start the civ. And the camps are going to work the exact same way. They're obviously going to require a lot less materials, but they're not going to require coins, camps, or civs. So this will be interesting.
So somebody had a question there. Inactive civs, right? So
Active.
yeah, civs that don't have any players in them. So we're going to have new things called random events, and some of the events are going to be like civ upkeep events, where like if you don't perform this event, then your civ is going to suffer a lot. So the reward, the risk for not doing the event is going to be so much greater than just doing it. And if you have active civ members, it's going to be easy to not fall into these traps. So it'll make inactive civs crumble to the ground a lot faster, is the idea. Right. No, it's going to be designed. It's going to be a game designed so that I could play it, and I work 8 hours a day. So they're not going to be ridiculously needy. But if you are AFK, it's going to be harder to work with a civ.
So currently our plan right now for the in-game tutorials, which is hopefully going to be intuitive and awesome, in order to get to this custom tutorial that we've created, there's going to be a book in your inventory, and we're debating on whether or not the players can remove it. We think maybe we want it to take up a space in their inventory permanently, but maybe we'll allow them to remove it, because the space in your inventory is actually quite valuable, especially in PvP.
Yeah.
So we may or may not actually do that. But basically, these items here... Go ahead.
Oh, I was thinking that one of the things we could do is you could drop it at any time, but when you dropped it, it disappeared, and then there's like a command you can do to retrieve it back at any time. So it's kind of like in your inventory, but not. So you could drop it if you needed to.
Right. So basically, what the tutorial has here is each one of these items has a description, a little bit about CivCraft, each one of them, and we can have as many items as we need to describe different things. And it's going to be using the exact same system that the custom recipes is using. So we can scale this inventory to be as big as we need it to be. And hopefully you'll have all the information, at the very least, you'll have the information to find out more from the wiki, which will also be linked in the in-game tutorial, as well as a basic rundown of what CivCraft is.
Right.
So we have less people making YouTube videos, getting into CivCraft and going, okay, I think I'm supposed to do, well, I don't know. So yeah, hopefully this will fix that.
So somebody asked how frequently the random events will occur. I'm thinking like 2 or 3 per day, but there's going to be different kinds of random events. Not all of them are going to be maintenance events. Some of them are going to be just for personal gain, where if you're a resident and you go out and you do this, you're going to get a little reward. And some of them will be for civ gain. You go out and do this, your civ will get a little bit of a boost. The maintenance ones will, we haven't quite decided exactly how often they're going to be, but probably once every other day there'll be some event or that you'll have to do to try to keep your civ up. Oh crap. Yeah, essentially, like about once a week, once or so a week, maybe a couple times a week, your civ has to do some kind of maintenance event. The maintenance events aren't supposed to be all that hard or time consuming. When the event occurs, we're definitely thinking about keeping it around for at least 24 hours before it expires and says that you failed. So it's going to be like, if you're on every day and active, you're going to know when it comes up, and you're going to know exactly what you need to do, and it's not going to take you very long. But if you're inactive, or if you're trying to manage multiple civs because you're running a proxy civ network, it's going to be a little big pain in the ass.
You should give them the tour of the template server.
That's my job.
Yeah, Precursor, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna-
We're probably going to do that next time. We're actually going to wrap it up.
That's a good idea.
Late. So, do you guys have any final questions for us before we turn the stream off? We're going to actually start doing this regularly. For everyone that enjoyed this, post feedback on the forums. We really want to know what you think and what you want to see next time. We're thinking about doing it every Thursday, but we're also open for suggestions on when you want us to post the next one. So,
Damn it.
Leave feedback on the forums and let us know what you guys think. And we're going to take final questions. So go ahead and send them in.
Love you too, Guitaro Man. Thanks.
That's not really a question. That's more of a statement. But I'll take it.
Oh, Mr. Technical. Oh no.
I don't know if you love him or not.
Fasha's lighthouse design? Oh, actually that lighthouse has been sitting there for weeks.
Yeah, actually, Precursor made that lighthouse, I want to say, 3 weeks ago?
I
Yeah.
don't remember.
It's been sitting there for a while. It is kind of similar to Pash's, though, yeah.
There's no ETA on the next phase. It kind of depends on what Mojang is doing, and how soon we get the things done. So yeah, I'm not going to give any ETAs out because if we do give an ETA out, people will take our word for it, and then they'll start destroying their civs before.
It just leads to a bunch of disappointment. You have people just throwing their hands up. All right, well, it's time to grief my own civ now, and then sure enough, oh, by the way, it's going to be another week out, and you have nothing to do now, and the server population drops. So when we are ready to announce Phase 5, we will announce it. We will give you guys at least a week heads up. We're not going to just reset the servers. Oh, by the way, we're doing Beta Phase 5. But just for clarification, there will be a reset on the servers. All the servers are going to be wiped. All the world data is going to be gone. Hopefully 1.7 will be out by then, and we'll have the new cool biomes, but that's not guaranteed either. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say for Beta Phase 5. We are working on it.
So somebody said culture and claiming plots. So claiming plots is going to work almost exactly the same as it does now, but claiming plots won't get you more culture in the next phase. So that means when you claim a plot, it's just gonna be your claimed plot. In order to get more culture, you're actually going to have to generate more culture. For the beta phase 2 to 5 question, this is actually our fifth phase because we've had, before we were on Chapo, we had 3 other phases where we were much, much smaller and things were much, much different. So the phase numbers is relative to when we first created the plugin itself, and things have changed
Right.
so much since then.
When basically first beta phase 1 was not even
Town permissions.
CivCraft. It was
It's
just
just
basically
permissions.
this hollow permission system that allowed you to claim plots that we had created that was similar to Townie's system. And the scope of this project has exploded. It is 10,000 times what we originally had. I remember when we had our very first structure, which I think was a store?
No, it was a bank. That
It
was
was a
the whole
bank.
point. That was the
It was
whole
a bank. So we wanted currency, but we wanted currency that didn't just come out of nowhere. We wanted you to work for it. So we created the bank, and then we had one structure in, and we were like, wow, now we need more structures. And 10 structures later, we have CivCraft. So ever since then, the scope of this project has just increased 10 times every month. It gets
Yep.
10 times bigger. And Phase 5 is going to be a game changer. It's going to be completely
Yeah.
different. A lot of you won't even recognize CivCraft. A lot
So
of the
how-
templates are going to be changing. A lot of the core mechanics are changing. And still be the same game, of course, but hopefully it's going to be changing for the better.
Is, and I have no idea. I can't tell you when beta phase 4 is going to end, let alone phase 5. The whole goal of phase 5 is just keep it going as long as we possibly can. We're only gonna wipe if there's a good reason to do so. It's not just gonna have a prescribed end for at least the time being.
Can you answer this question? We got, will culture be more than a single chunk extension, or at max your town will be 10 chunks larger than the initial town build?
Okay, I'm not sure I quite understand the question.
I'm not sure I understand either.
Culture will be exactly the same, except it'll be calculated each level. Yeah, that's what it'll continue to do.
Not exactly one chunk. It's going to scale. So one level of culture will increase by one chunk. The next level of culture will increase your borders by 3 chunks further, and then exponentially get larger, hopefully.
Right, the increase is exponential. In fact, I think the chart on the wiki is accurate, as far as I know. It says, each level gives you more and more chunks around your town. But yeah, there's going to be at max. Well, I don't know if there's going to be at max 10 levels. We did talk about adding more levels in between, so that you can start increasing your culture faster.
Currently, there's 10 levels. Yes.
Yeah, but currently there's 10 levels.
But all of that's getting changed.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's going to be it. We're actually going to wrap it up here.
By the way, yeah, pets. One of the things I want to do with the pets, I want to make horses kind of like a pet, where you can summon them and unsummon them, so that you can actually use them.
Whoops.
Cool. All right. Well, other than that, yeah, we're heading out.
Okay. Later. Thanks to everyone for watching.
Great. Wait. Bye.